What would you say is the biggest point of leverage companies have to improve their retention and then just the overall ROI that they're getting in the field?
Right. Again, all of the data shows us that it's frontline supervisors and those middle managers who have the biggest impact on safety, retention, engagement, and production, more so than senior leadership or that top level of leadership. Obviously, culture can trickle down, but when we empower those field supervisors with leadership competencies, it their leadership multiplier. And so it all like they grow into better leaders as they are promoted, and they grow leaders underneath them. So investing in those middle management field supervisors by far has the greatest ROI. And we see this in employee engagement data. It's a fact.
Yeah. And where do you feel like we're lacking right now? I know we have a lot of people in the field already doing these roles. What's the problem? What are we trying to solve with more training and all of those things?
Yeah. I mean, frankly, I think what we're lacking probably is the awareness and the impetus to recognize the value in training them. So I can't believe I still hear the cliche, what if I train them and they leave? Well, what if they stay and they continue to run off your new hires or the field guys?
That's
You have,
crazy. You hear that? People
oh
say
my
that?
gosh, yes. Like, oh, but I'll invest in them and then they'll go somewhere else. Well, if you
Yeah.
invest in them and you do something like an employee engagement survey and they feel heard and seen, they'll stay. That's the data. So I guess what I've really tried to solve for with my field supervisor training is also I hear we're just too busy. We don't have the time. Now, it's really effective if you can get everyone into a room for 4 hours. Everyone's on the same page. We go through a training, we all leave, and we actually implement it afterwards. It's not just a binder that sits on the shelf, but that isn't always practical, even in cyclical work environments like heavy civil that ramp up in the summer and slow down in the winter. It's just
Mhm.
hard. So I've really tried to solve for that with async learning. And so it's just 1 hour live on Zoom once a week for 4 weeks. And everything else, you're either practicing it the second you leave your work truck and your boots hit the ground, or you're practicing it in the class, or I've started using it where you're practicing these leadership competencies with AI, which sounds crazy, but that's really so many of the field supervisors I train, they cognitively know the benefits of role playing and having hard conversations and like practicing that. But it's not comfortable, even with someone like me, and I ask them to role play. It's just awkward. Really, AI is crazy effective. But I took this AI class and I'm only 5 weeks out of 8 weeks in, and I already can write GPTs for these field supervisors to then go and practice having these hard conversations with accountability or safety. And so far, the results are awesome.
If you were to sum all this up in one sentence, what's the main takeaway here for companies that want to invest? They understand the importance of investing in their supervisors. How do they start?
I guess you start with an employee engagement survey, frankly, and see where you're weakest. Because oftentimes also a lot of trades guys, although men complain more that they gossip and complain just as much as they like to say women do, but they still aren't necessarily the type to go and ask for a bunch of things to be fixed. Like if I have a problem, I want to come with a solution. So I've just found so often they're unless someone's inviting them into the conversation and saying, what do you think? What training do you need? How can I help? What would you like? They're probably not going to go ask for it. This is a very like put your head down and get your work done. You just don't want to be the squeaky wheel. Start with an engagement survey. It is so easy, so low cost, so profound for getting a pulse on what your guys are actually needing and wanting. I read recently, and this is always how I felt about mining as well, is either you're doing the work in the field or you're supporting the work in the field, and it's just one of two things. So if you aren't in the field doing the work, you better be asking how I can support you.